Right. Are we live yet?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we're live now. Oh, just like it just happens.
Okay.
I gotta put my clothes on and stuff.
Wait a second. Let me get my game face on. Welcome back to the Act-Based.
Yeah, I'm covered, so I'm all right.
Well, I don't know. Maybe you got to get your glasses on. So it's officially April 16th, 2020. Welcome back. Yes. Welcome, Steve. It is nice to see the two of you here. This is our 8th online support that we've run. Yeah, if you can believe it. We already have some people jumping on the live stream. So welcome everybody. Thank you for keeping an eye out for our live broadcast alert and joining us here. It's really it's quite nice to have this time to connect with you folks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's good to be here.
And hello back there. Hi. You're on YouTube.
The leaves of strawberries are very tasty.
Okay, they're enjoying all the stuff that I just got from the shopping this afternoon.
I had some strawberries this morning myself.
Yeah, the cookies, triple chocolate chip cookies and strawberries.
That's nice.
Triple chocolate chip.
And there's some donuts in there as well somewhere.
Oh, nice.
Have you had the donuts yet? No.
And okay. Steve, you were just sharing before we got on the call that, or before we went live, that you were playing one of Ellis's, one of your son's video games.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Hungry Shark Evolution.
Very cool. I've been trying to we've been watching some movies. Yeah, it's been okay. The weather's cold. It was snowing.
Yeah, it's chilly.
I just took the dog out on a walk before we got on here.
Oh, is it snowing up there?
Yeah, that's why I've got a nice big kind of thick sweater on today.
For those of you that don't live where Tim and I live, there's an escarpment, and Tim lives. So we're in Hamilton, but Tim lives on the escarpment, and I live below the escarpment. So we call the escarpment the mountain. So Tim lives on the mountain. I live down the mountain. Yeah. And the weather is usually a lot different up the mountain to down the mountain.
A lot, and we get a lot more snow up here.
Yeah, for sure you do. I've even noticed, like, going down the mountain some days, like when I'm driving, because I do work out of Tim's clinic, and sometimes it's a drop of temperature of like 7 degrees.
Wow.
Driving down the mountain, I can see on my car thermostat, it's just like dropping, or.
It's substantial, eh?
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. How's life in Birmingham? Yes.
The weather's nice and warm today, but
it's horrible. It's so warm. I can't sit in the lounge without getting heat stroke.
Oh, the little one. She's getting hot. So try not wearing a woolly onesie.
Yeah, but it's not my brain.
So I went out shopping, so that I didn't really get to enjoy it so much because I was dragging a heavy shopping trolley. That I had to call this one, my 13-year-old. I had to call her to come down to the bottom of the street and help me bring the shopping up.
Aw, I feel you.
So
I feel you.
But yeah, they've got lots of things to be getting on with now.
Yeah.
Munching on and stuff. So
munching on, totally.
Yeah. So yeah, have you had a donut, Mariam?
I have not.
No, I can't have this stuff because it's not gluten-free. So I've got a few snacks, but the weather's nice. It's all right. I've been hearing some news about quite a lot of people in Birmingham. Birmingham seems to be the epicenter at the moment in the UK.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So apparently it's like I was reading one article. It says about 40% of the new cases or deaths are currently in Birmingham.
Oh wow.
From the UK. So I don't know how accurate those figures are, but because there seems to be manipulating figures depending on how they want to how the particular journalists that want to portray it, so there's kind of manipulate the figures. So there's a lot of unreported cases as well. So the people in care homes that are dying, people at home that are dying, they're not reporting them. So people are calling to the government to make sure they report those deaths as well.
Yeah, that, you know, the more that I look into statistics around what we're collectively experiencing, I'm continuing to notice that there is less and less consistency. Whether you're looking at provinces here in Canada, states in the US, just even in how the information is collected and even in how testing is being conducted, it's so different across different regions. Yeah.
Mhm.
There's no filling in the donut.
There's no filling in the donut. Sorry, those are the only ones that had.
Oh,
Oh, no filling.
donuts.
Yeah, there was a lot of inconsistencies in different places, the statistics.
Yeah. And Steve, how are you managing?
I'm good. I just living it up, sleeping in, which feels
Yeah.
nice sometimes when the kids
Are your
allow
kids
it.
sleeping in though?
Sometimes, like when Ellis is in school.
Yeah, there it is.
Well, when Ellis is in school, he's usually up at 7:30 in the morning, and then depending on Ava's going through. She's always going through a transition because she's almost 3. So, like, right now there's some stress around the house because right now she's getting off of the booby, but doesn't always want to be off of the booby.
Oh, I know that one.
But my wife has sort of had her. She's done with it.
She's done.
Well,
She's done with
after
it.
3 years, that's a lot.
It is.
I put it off at 2 years. That's it.
Yeah. The good thing about my son was that when he bit my wife one time,
Oh,
and then she startled him, and ever since then he was like, I think he was almost less than 2. Ever since the startle, he like never wanted a booby.
Oh,
But Ava doesn't want to give it up. So, but that's okay. So yeah, there's some crying in the night and stuff like that. But on the positive note, last night my wife was sleeping and I was playing Hungry Shark on the iPad, and the girl woke up, and my wife usually gets up and tends to our daughter, and I was like, okay, I'm going to try to do it, because usually I'll ask my wife if she's awake. I'll be like, do you want me to go in? And she's like, no, it won't work. I'm the only one that can do it.
it won't work.
It won't work, because usually it doesn't, because mom's like the favorite for Ava. So I went in last night. I snuck in and just sort of laid down with her, and she went right back to sleep. So that was like a bonus for the both of us. I got to feel really, really good about being like a dad that can comfort a child in need, and my wife got to sleep a little bit longer. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
So that was the
I'm
bonus.
noticing these little humans.
I woke up. Hi guys. I woke up feeling really good about that this morning. Actually, it was one of the first thoughts that I had sort of roll through my mind was,
God.
I got to put Ava back to sleep last night. Felt good.
Oh, that's nice.
Well, I got my hair cut last night. So
Oh,
I'm
look at you, eh?
myself again. Yeah.
So the hairdresser's open over there?
No.
No.
This was an at-home job.
Was it
okay.
was it a suck and cut?
What's that mean?
Suck and no, like Wayne's World. Do you remember that?
Oh, like
It sucks while it cuts.
It was like, yeah, no, it was a little bit more delicate with me, but I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, it's not hanging over my ears and all mess. I don't do anything with my hair, right? So when it gets all long, I have no idea what to do with it. So this is. Yeah,
I think a lot of people are in the same boat at the moment. I've seen quite a lot of people
right now.
on social media with their bad haircuts at the moment.
totally.
So it's quite amusing.
Yeah. Even my son is asking, like, when the virus is over, can we go back to the barber shop? Because his hair is getting really shaggy.
Yeah.
He wants
How old
to
is he?
Oh, he's 5.
He's 5 and he's asking.
Yeah, he wants
He
likes
wants to get his hair cut.
because I go to a barber shop that's close to our house, and it's sort of like a really old school classic barber shop.
Oh yeah.
And he started coming with me, and then he would get his hair cut every once in a while, and now he loves going to the barber shop to see, like, he's got his barber, he sees Jimmy, and he loves to see Jimmy. He does a good job.
That's so sweet that your son is developing a relationship with the barber. That's it's an important rite of passage, eh?
And I think it is, yeah. And Jimmy knows all the things that Ellis is into, so when they go, it's the classic barbershop conversations. Like, Jimmy knows what questions to ask, and
that's adorable.
It's very sweet.
So before we dive into our meditation for today, I just want to throw this out there. I want to thank William Thomas. He watched our yesterday's live stream. He watched it in post view. So he watched it about 10 hours ago, and he left this just wonderful comment that I saw this morning when I got up, and it really just made my day. He said, being a counselor for a local health department who uses ACT in my practice, this was so enjoyable and helpful to watch during this crisis. Thank you.
Awesome.
That's
Thanks,
nice.
William. Yeah, it's really nice to get that feedback from you. Very nice. So how did the two of you feel about settling in for a little bit of meditation time?
Let's do it.
You two open to that?
Sounds
Okay.
good.
Steve, do you want to do guide the movement practice today?
I'll guide movement practice today. Yeah, for sure.
And Yas, do you feel like guiding our meditation today, or do you want me to take the
Oh my
reins?
gosh, no, I've never done that before.
Maybe
Not unless
tomorrow?
no, oh my gosh. I've done it with my kids before. I'm talking about mindfulness. We're talking about fun mindfulness. So we're talking about smelling the farts. Do you get what
Hey, yeah.
I go?
There's nothing wrong with that at all.
No, it's all sense objects, eh? It's all sense objects.
Yeah. Sometimes there's farts.
Stop, yes.
Okay, maybe give me a few days to figure something out, and I'll see what I can do.
Totally cool. All right, so I'm going to invite you folks. Do you guys want to meditate with us?
Want to meditate?
I'm looking for the cornstarch.
She's looking for the cornstarch.
Oh.
Am I meditating?
It might be in the last bag that I haven't cleaned up.
Oh,
Sorry.
If you meditate for 5 minutes, the cornstarch might reveal itself to you.
It's already there. You just don't know it yet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm going to invite you folks to get yourselves seated comfortably. I'm going to do the same.
Share?
And yeah, oh, very nice. Thank you for joining us for a meditation. And if you're comfortable, you may wish to allow your vision to drop. You don't have to close your eyes, though. You can always just allow yourself to just rest your eyes on a position, perhaps fixed lower, in a way where your eyes can just start to go out of focus and relax a little bit. It can be really easy to get distracted by what's happening inside of our minds as we prepare to sit with ourselves. So I'd like to invite you to just give yourself a moment to be aware of whatever it is that's showing up for you right now as we prepare to sit together. You may be noticing different sensations in your body. You might be noticing thoughts on your mind. Sensations outside of your body. Maybe the temperature of the air or sounds in your environment. Whatever you've just become aware of, notice that there's a you, aware. And also notice that you've taken the time out of your day to purposefully do this. Whether you've just sat yourself down in your mom's lap, or you've logged on to a Zoom call with your old friends, or you've clicked on this YouTube video. You've purposefully chosen to take the time out of your day to do this. Give yourself a moment to really calibrate your attention, your intention to being here right now. And be gentle on yourself intentionally if your attention drifts. Whatever qualities you bring to this meditation, to this session that we have together today, is totally welcome here. We're practicing just honoring this space that we share, honoring each other for showing up in this space. And as we're here together breathing, I'd like to invite you to call to mind the different people in your life who have honored you. Perhaps teachers or barbers, friends or family members, a helper in your life, a neighbor. Different people who have shown up to you. And let's just rest here a moment, seeing their faces, knowing that they too have hopes, that they too have people who honor them and love them. And give yourself a moment here to just extend some gesture of appreciation for the people who have touched your life in simple or profound ways. Perhaps there's people who've touched your life that don't even know you. Like our friend William, who took the time out of his day to write that really nice note for us. Take a breath. Resting here in this moment, noticing whatever emotions and thoughts may be showing up, and just attending to the inflow and outflow of our breath as we feel, as we think. As we are. Wherever you are in the world, just allow yourself a moment to feel the sensations of the surface that you're sitting on, or the surface that you're standing on, if you're able to. Noticing any sounds in your environment. Bringing some motion into your body, wiggling the fingers, rotating the wrists. I always enjoy a good shoulder roll, rolling the shoulders up, forward, and down, or moving the head from side to side. And before you open your eyes, just take one last moment to just notice that there's a space here that we share together. And bringing yourself fully to this space. And when you're ready, opening your eyes in your own time. Hey, Steve. Hey, Yas.
Hey.
Welcome back.
Yes, I think your daughter's sleeping. She fell asleep.
With a big smile on her face.
Yeah.
No, I saw him bring a bit of
That's
motion
just
into her
awake.
body. Oh, man. And welcome to all of the folks who are joining us live here on YouTube. It's such a pleasure to see so many people hitting the like button, so many people watching live with us. Yeah, thank you.
That was a beautiful meditation, by the way. That's really nice.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
really relaxing.
Oh, and what did either of you notice? What showed up for either of you?
For me, over the past little while, I've been doing more metta style or loving kindness meditations. So that's been my practice over the past, like, let's say 5 days or so.
Yeah.
And so that was just a really nice extension of that, of maybe for those people that don't know a lot about metta meditation or loving kindness, is that classically yourself, and then you do like a benefactor, somebody who, like what Tim was saying, is somebody who's honored you, and then a neutral person, somebody maybe that you're having some difficulty with, and then everyone. So it was just really nice as like to hit in on that benefactor of like somebody who's really honored you or supported you in your life. And so I really liked that one. It brought to mind like my grade 11 creative writing teacher, Mrs. Stanchek. Mrs. Stanchek, if you're out there, I don't even know if you're still kicking, but yeah, she was a very profound influence on my life. Of just, she was one of the first people in my life who ever blatantly came forward and said, like, I think you've got a lot of potential.
Yeah,
I think you could really do some good things. So Miss Stanchek, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I'm thankful for the Miss Stanchek in your life.
Yeah, she was.
Can't help but wonder if that somehow contributed to us finding our way together.
Probably, I feel like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really nice. Yeah, I like that, focusing in on
something other than Mariam.
Yay! Focus on people who've been of benefit, who appreciate us and, you know, give us that time and stuff and things like that. It was really nice to focus in on the positive people in our lives.
Yeah.
So it was nice.
Totally. Hello. So how what have you two been up to? I know, Steve, you've been playing some video games. Yes, you did some shopping.
Yeah. What have you?
Well, I need to get out and do some shopping, actually. I've been trying to do this every 2 weeks thing, but you know, last week when I did some grocery shopping, I had this experience where I didn't want to take too much stuff because I'm starting to notice the shelves were looking a little bit low. Yeah, have you been shopping this week yet, Steve?
I went yesterday. Yesterday was our day. We tried to go every 2 weeks, but as far as like produce is concerned, it's really hard to make produce last for 2 weeks, especially things like spinach and stuff. So yeah, yesterday was the day. The good thing for us was the lineup was relatively short. And yeah, people were just really good at keeping their distance and stuff like that. And so it was just nice to, I like going out.
It's too distracting.
It's okay. Yeah,
I think I need to go and get her sellotape. So give me about 30 seconds.
I need to fix my one.
take your time. Yeah. So I'm just getting myself geared up mentally to go and do a grocery shop today. Not a big one. Yeah.
Mhm.
Going out, doing the groceries. I've been cooking a lot.
Yeah, same. I like right now that I don't feel rushed to cook, because that's usually the way that it is for me, is like I feel rushed to make my lunch and then eat it because I have something to do afterwards.
Yeah.
And then now I don't have to.
And how about you with your heart robe? Are those little hearts on your robe? Oh, we can't hear you. Hold on.
I don't think she knows how to turn the mute off.
I know how to.
Yeah, for sure you can.
Oh no, I can't.
Oh, there
Oh
you
no,
go.
I can. Yeah, now we can hear you. I think those are little hearts on your robe. And how are you doing? Sorry, we didn't catch your name.
My name,
Yeah, what's your name?
Safio. Definitely not Safi.
So she's given you her alter ego here.
Safio.
I do not
Safio.
have an alter ego.
Yeah, this is her. Safio is her alter ego.
Safio is a real person, separate from Safi.
Mhm.
It might be a Jekyll and Hyde situation, but
Did you hear that?
Well, I mean, you're with a pretty accepting bunch. We can deal with a Jekyll and Hyde situation.
I
That's
feel
no
like
problem.
everybody's got a Jekyll and a Hyde, and a bunch of people in between those.
Bunch of people in between. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So gearing up for going on a grocery shop.
Mhm.
And Sefio, how about you? How are you managing self-isolation?
Normal.
What's normal?
Normal.
Tell us what normal is for you.
Not knowing there's coronavirus.
Yeah, fair enough.
You don't want to know about it. You don't want to hear about it.
I forgot about it
You forgot about it.
until I
Okay.
saw that.
Oh, all right. I'll take that down then.
What is that?
it is a
coronavirus poster.
it is a bit of a printout that I was that was available for parents and carers of people with young children and young people, how to support them during the COVID-19 crisis.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I've got that pinned to my notice board, which is just behind my laptop. And then she's looked up and then she's seen that and she's like, yeah, forgot about it until I saw that. And I was like, okay.
Aw.
I was like, all right, I'll take it down.
Well, I feel
That's a good way to support her. Right? A good way to
Yeah, take
support
it
her.
down. Stop remind her about it.
Totally.
Oh, my wand.
Oh. Now that's a quote for today. No, my wand. That's definitely going into the YouTube description of what we talked about.
Yeah.
And then another kind of thing that I had forgotten about, because there was quite a bit of snow in the backyard, so I've been doing some cleaning up of the yard. And when I take the dog out on a walk, something that I noticed is people have their pools open already. Like, it's cold here. It was -3 last night. Felt like -6 this morning when I went out early this morning. But that's something that I've been kind of thinking about, is like, I don't know, maybe I should just open the pool and crank up the heat.
Can't go for a swim. Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
Yeah.
is that they have the pool heaters over there?
Yeah, you kind of have to here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say, has it frozen over the pools? But no.
Well, it's all thought out now. So yeah, so it should be okay. That's kind of, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. When we close the pool, like, you have to take the water down below the plumbing, like the filtration system line, so that it doesn't, the water doesn't freeze in the pipes. And then you dump antifreeze into the pipes. And obviously you need to let the pool like circulate and be filtered and put in chlorine, for a good like 24, 48 hours, just to clear out all that antifreeze and all that nasty stuff.
That's what I was thinking. You got antifreeze in your pool, so I don't want to swim in there.
Yeah, no, I don't want to swim in there, Tim. No. We got ways of addressing it. Yeah, so that's, I mean, I don't know. I think we're looking at some warmer weather, and I'm a very outdoor oriented person. I remember a couple of years ago, Steve, when we were seeing each other regularly in the summer, like every time I would see you, be like, you got sun today.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I do.
Yeah, you'd be like, you got sun today. Like, yeah. So I'm a very outdoors motivated person. Yeah.
Yeah, after this, I'm going to take the kids outside and play around in the backyard for a bit.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, and you have a nice big backyard too.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. And we go it was last summer we got a geodesic dome, like a climbing dome, which was nice. Yeah, so we bought it from, I think it was from Costco or something like that, and it was but the weight capacity on it is like 600 pounds. So we can all be on it. It's like all three of us or all four of us can be on climbing on it at the same time, and it's completely sturdy. So yeah, the kids are like little monkeys.
How tall is it? I think I saw it.
It is.
It's several feet tall. Like it's quite big.
Oh yeah. Like I poke up through the top, but maybe only by about a foot. And
Okay.
I'm 5'11", so it's about 4.5, 5 feet tall.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Geodesic dome.
Geodesic dome.
Very
That's
cool.
what it's called. I don't think I even really know what geodesic means. I should probably look it up. It just sounds cool.
Wow.
Sounds cool when my son says it too. He's like, because now he doesn't call it the dome. He calls it the geodesic dome. So whenever he references it, it's like, oh, can we go play in the geodesic dome? And I'm like, yes, we can.
So as I was looking up what does geodesic mean, the top Google search results were, what does geoduck taste like? I don't want to know. What does Geodude evolve into?
I think the
Who is
geoduck is actually a gooey duck. I think it's gooey duck.
Well, it's spelt Geoduck.
Yeah. But I probably referenced it.
You know how much I love to be corrected, Steve.
I know. So I think it's gooey duck.
I actually think it's Geoduck there, sir. So geodesic, relating to or denoting the shortest possible line between 2 points on a sphere or other curved surface.
Okay, yeah, that would make sense then, because it is a spherical shape made up of triangles.
Yeah. There we go. Geodesic. You learn
Good
something
times.
new every
Look at
day
that.
on this YouTube channel.
And we also learned that if you try to look up geodesic, you get, what does gooey duck taste like?
Uh-huh.
Gooey
Terrible.
duck.
I'm liking the dance moves.
Yeah.
Anything to keep ourselves active.
The book that we forgot to
So not that this is like, super relevant, but my backyard is, and I did not elect to do this. This was like this when I bought the house. So my backyard is all concrete, which is severely depressing. It's like stamped concrete. So like it looks nice, but it's not ideal. But there is, however, and this was, a part of the feature of buying this house, is there's a gigantic pool. So what I'm planning on doing is, I was actually wondering about just getting a huge slide, although they are prohibitively expensive.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
No, slide. You got a pool, yeah? Slide on a pool.
Water slide.
Water slide.
Water slide. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
What is slide in a water park?
No, in his back garden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got lots of space.
Mini water park. Because you have a diving board, don't you, Tim? You have a diving board, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
Diving board and a water slide. That's all you need.
It's all you need.
Sounds fun. Sounds fun. These lots seem to like the sound of it.
All right. You have to, when you guys come to Canada, you can come hang out in the pool. You make sure you come in the summer though.
Get a bit cold
But the
otherwise.
pools are for the bears.
He lives in, she said the pools are for the bears.
Of any kind?
I do actually see ducks in there in the early morning light quite frequently.
It's a duck pond.
Just
No,
swimming around.
Pond.
It's a duck pond.
It's not a duck pond, it's pool.
It's not a pan, it's a duck pond.
Oh dear.
I wonder if there's like a Google Earth top-down view of my house. There has to be, right?
I'm assuming that there would be at some point, like
Probably using
satellite moving over.
Are they allowed to do that? People's backyards?
It's Google. I think they're allowed to do anything.
Oh, wow.
Whether you like it or not.
Oh man. So there was something that I wanted to bring up for us to chat about today. I know we hit on a little bit of political stuff yesterday. I know that we've talked about like, managing children, working online. Something that I thought that we could talk about really briefly is, and I'm not sure that we're that's awesome. The sticker unibrow.
Probably going to talk about boring adult stuff.
So there's something that that I thought would be kind of cool for us to talk about, which is how is it that these online ways of interacting, because it's funny how much we take this as a positive thing, but how is it that this system of interacting online is impacting you folks?
Well, I don't really have much privacy.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I've always pretty much got an audience most of the time.
Got an audience most of the time. Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I managed to get to lock myself in the bedroom for an hour, so that's good.
yeah.
Well, for this at least, and yeah, and so it's it definitely does create some complication, especially for teaching yoga, where I have to, the biggest room in the house, because we live in a 2-bedroom apartment, the biggest room in the apartment is the kids' room. So I clear a space in their room and then lock them out of it.
Yeah.
And then sometimes there's like knocking on the doors and stuff like that. So it's just interesting, especially when you're, for me, going from teaching yoga in a very controlled environment. I'm in a studio. There's really no interruptions, other than maybe if somebody is like accidentally brought their cell phone in and it goes off. To teaching in an environment, and keeping in mind too, is like when I'm in the studio, I can see all of the people that I'm teaching to. And
Yeah.
now I can't see a single person, which means that there's no availability to offer any suggestions or corrections.
How come you can't see anyone else, Steve?
I could if they turned their cameras on, but the way that a lot of it is working is that cameras off for a lot of teachers now, so you don't get to see anybody. If you're doing one-on-one, I know that people that are teaching one-on-one in a lot of smaller groups, they do keep their cameras on so that they can offer suggestions. But with the studio that I teach at, like the classes now, sometimes they're 40 plus people. And so imagine like on a Zoom call having 40 plus little boxes that you would have, like, so trying to teach and see what other people's alignment is like. And so it's really awkward not to be able to see the people that I'm teaching to, offer suggestions. I'm sort of just teaching to the ether and just not really sure like what's getting out there. And yeah, so it's awkward. It's definitely a different scenario.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
And even the interactions that I love having in places like the clinic, and especially the studio, of being able to talk to students after class. And a lot of my students have now become my friends. So we'll do things like high fives and sweaty hugs. And now I don't get to do that. So
that's not happening.
yeah, and it's interesting because a lot of, like, let's say a lot of the broader yoga community is looking at this as sort of the new trend, like that yoga classes are just going to be consistently done online now. And people wondering
I have a hard time believing that.
That's my thing, is like, some people are like, some studios are going to close down and never open up again. And I'm like, I don't know. The people that I know that come to the studio that I teach at are there because of the studio and the environment, not just because of the yoga.
Absolutely.
Because yoga has been available online for so long. Like,
otherwise, yoga with Andrea would be it. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
No. Come on. It's funny how you describe this. I have a very deep sense that, I mean, there are definitely going to be some yoga studios that will not open their doors again because they do not have the cash reserves to pay their rent for several months without any significant revenue.
Yeah.
I mean, if you told me that, hey, De La Soul is, on the verge of bankruptcy, not that I desire that at all, but that would make sense. I don't assume that, Katie has the kind of cash reserves to pay for maintaining a business without, with seriously reduced revenue. Because I'm assuming that you guys aren't teaching nearly as many classes, have nearly as many students.
No, especially with De La Soul, because like in the hot room, the schedule was extensive. Like you're talking, from 6:30 in the morning until 9:30 at night. There's a class like every so often. And
Oh,
now
absolutely. I got hepatitis and pink eye from that. I'm kidding. I'm joking. I'm joking.
Disclaimer. And then the disclaimer goes down at the bottom of the.
No. Registered letter comes in Katie's.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, the sort of skeleton schedule that De La Soul has now is like there's classes throughout the day, but considering that like as a studio, De La Soul has 2 locations, and then
That's right.
hot studio, hot room, non-hot room.
Yeah.
That like before the schedule was so extensive, and now 3 or 4 classes a day are being run. Yeah, so it's definitely a big change.
So there's this, the yoga studio thing it's the same argument as restaurants. I mean, eventually we're going to open restaurants up again, right? And of course, like, there will be a capacity change where people are going to have to sit, rather far apart, and, that's going to reduce, how many people can actually be sitting in the restaurant. I get that. But, the main sort of complaint that people are airing is, how the heck are you supposed to go to a restaurant and sit down with your friend Steve, right, and eat or have a latte when you have a mask on, right? Like, are people going to be like lifting the mask or what? No, there's going to come a time where, we're not going to be needing to be wearing masks. And I do believe that will come before we have a vaccine. I could be wrong. I mean, it's April 16th, 2020. So, I mean, I'm on the record here saying this, but I do believe that, there will come a day where, we'll be able to get back to yoga classes and get back to hanging out with one another in restaurants and coffee shops.
And like you said, with the restaurants is exactly what was happening before studios closed down was class capacities dropped drastically. Like we would go, instead of 35 people a class, depending on the size of the room, we dropped down. At first we dropped down to 25 and then 20 and then 15 people, just to make sure that everybody could have a good amount of space. But yeah, I think that was sort of the tapering down, and then I think that it's going to be a tapering back up at some point.
Yeah, and that makes really good sense to me.
Yeah, that happened at university as well with the classes. Like slowly less and less students were turning up to university. And to the point where it was like, are you going to carry on having lessons or what? And then most of the students were like emailing our teachers like, we don't feel comfortable coming in. We've got vulnerable people at home and we don't, So they eventually said, just study at home. And then within the next few days, that's when the government was like shutting everything down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right. So this is public information anyway, but just to show you too how creepy this is.
Oh, there's your house.
So, that might be your car parked out front, Steve.
I want to say that maybe that is my car parked out front.
So you can see that's my old Subaru in the driveway.
Because you've got a white one now, right? Yeah. Is that my RAV4?
I think that is your RAV4.
I think it is.
It really looks like it. Yeah. And so you can see the pool there. There's a gigantic, look at how huge this tree looks, by the way.
Oh, it's massive.
That's 2 trees that my neighbor here, his grandmother, my neighbor out back, Jeff, shout out to Backyard Jeff, really cool guy.
What up, Jeff?
What's up, Jeff? I'm sure he does not watch this YouTube channel, BTW. Although, you know what? His kids probably do. So his grandmother planted these 2 trees.
Oh, wow.
Not knowing if either of them would survive. And they've sort of bonded into one like mega tree, which I think is hysterical.
Super tree.
Super tree. Like now in the super chat. So what we've got is the pool there with the diving board. Steve, you've jumped off that diving board.
I have jumped off that diving board. That's why I was pretty sure you had a diving board, because I was pretty certain that I've jumped off it before.
Yeah, there's a little shed back there. We got our giant umbrella. I'm actually thinking about doing a makeover of the shed and turning it into like a little cabana, a little pool cabana.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, rather than a nasty kind of creepy pool shed. And then what else have we got? My Japanese maple there in the front yard that I'm very proud of. So
It's that clear. I can't believe it.
creepy, right?
See,
Yeah.
it's not a pond, Mariam. He's got pool in his backyard.
It's a bear pond.
It's a bear pond, apparently.
A bear pond. Yeah. Well, we are in Canada land, so that makes sense.
Maybe like where we are though, maybe like a coyote pond or.
Our friend Laura Ripley wrote something really beautiful in the chat. She's saying, I think people will start to feel the effects of touch starvation.
Yeah. Agreed.
Big time. Steve, do you ever teach any couples yoga work or any partner yoga stuff?
More so in the past. My previously, like my friends Natalie and I got into teaching partner yoga together. After that contact yoga book came out. I think you have that book, the contact yoga book.
Of course I have.
And then my friend Aaron and I, we were doing and teaching partner and acro for a while, like doing some acro yoga.
Yeah, I seem to recall you teaching that.
Yeah, and then I've taught. Actually, it's really nice that I've from the workshops that my friend Aaron and I used to teach. Then I would get couples just asking to do partner yoga together, so I would do it privately. It's a really wonderful way. My wife and I practice, not so much right now, but we used to lift each other up all the time, and yeah, it's a really wonderful way to
lift me up. Sorry.
It's a really fun
way. It was
to,
there, I couldn't help it.
Yeah, I know. It's a fun way to practice movement with another person.
Yeah.
And then and if you start getting into the fun stuff, which is like lying, like somebody lies on their back and then picks the other person up and then doing some stuff up and around there.
Yeah. So I used to teach some retreat, like couples oriented yoga stuff at a resort in Algonquin Park. And I was thinking like one thing that I used to really like facilitating was like partner yoga, but also like doing some self massage and then like mutual like yoga massage. And I'm kind of wondering, like, Laura, if that's maybe something that might be helpful, whether it be like today or in the future, like teaching a little bit of like self massage stuff as a part of some of our movement practices, and maybe even looking at some safe spaces where that'll be possible when all of this social distancing stuff is over, or alternatively just booking yourself in for a massage somewhere, folks. Yeah, because touch is such a intimate and important part of balancing our health out.
Yeah, I had a friend recently who was talking about how and he sort of told me this in confidence. He's like, don't tell anybody, but he's like, I went and got a massage. He's like, I'm not supposed to. But he knows his massage therapist really, really well. They've both been quarantining for X period amount of time, and they both felt relatively safe just being in the same room together. And so, he went and got a massage because his massage therapist needed cash because he's broke. And my friend really just needed to be touched, and so he went and got a massage. And he was like, sort of like that internal battle of like, I know this is maybe unsafe. As far as the virus is concerned, but then also just recognizing that if without a little bit of touch, he was going to kind of go crazy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I'm all for self-massage. Like as somebody who sort of studies and practices Ayurveda, self-massage is a big part of Ayurveda.
Absolutely.
And then even like if I could give a shout out to Jill Miller, and if anybody doesn't know who Jill Miller is, you should check her out. Yoga Tune Up. It's just a consistent practice of massaging tissues just for tissue health reasons and for nervous system reasons. I just use self-massage as a down regulator.
I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Jill Miller.
Very cool. I like Jill Miller's work.
Yeah.
All right. So
I should remind do you remember when you did that personalized meditation for me a while ago, Tim?
Of course I do.
Yeah, it reminded me of that. That was really, that was a really good one because it's like giving yourself a hug. That was a nice one.
Oh.
Yeah, I still got that somewhere. saved.
That was cool. I think I did I post that on Twitter?
Yeah, you posted it on Twitter. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that was.
Thank you for bringing that back up. That's really cool to remember that.
Yeah, so I got rid of that Twitter account, but it might still be up there.
Are those mini eggs?
So I've got a new Twitter account. So, but yeah, it should still be there somewhere.
No, that's really cool. Thank you for bringing that up. Okay, it's 12:51 here in Canada land. Steve, do you want to guide us through a brief movement practice before we say
I
goodbye?
do. Today is going to be a standing practice as opposed to a sitting practice. And what I wanted to do today was to do a practice for those people that are sitting a lot, of just doing a practice to be able to counteract some of that. Yeah. So find a place where you can, maybe 4 or 5 feet, maybe the size of a yoga mat if you have it.
Oh, let me move
Plug.
sofa.
Everybody can still hear me.
I'm gonna move my sofa out of the way. So much space. The mountains are falling.
All right. So if you have some space around you, maybe an arm's width worth of space, that would be nice. Yeah. And then I thought I'd start off with just a little bit of standing cat-cows. And so in a standing position, you'll add a little bit of a bend in the knees and then kind of poke your bum out behind you. And then you're going to place your hands on top of your thighs for a little bit of support. And then from this position, you're going to begin to rock your pelvis forward and start to move into a bit of a back bend. So the belly will travel forward, the chest will start to open up, and then if it's allowed, the gaze will start to lift. And what I like to do in this position is also press my hands into my thighs or my knees. And just noticing how when we do that, the musculature of the shoulders and the upper back turns on a little bit more. So those muscles that don't get really active when we're sitting for long periods of time. And then we'll go for the opposite, where you'll start to scoop the pelvis under, start to round the low back, round the upper back, almost like you're gently pushing the upper back towards the wall behind you, and then dropping the head. And then we're going to do a few rounds of those where we'll rock the pelvis forward, belly moves forward, chest moves forward, head lifts up. And then pelvis rolls back, spine rounds out, and then head drops. Pelvis rocks forward, belly forward, chest open, head lift, pressing the hands into the thighs. Pelvis rolls back, spine rounds out, head drops down. And then one more time, pelvis rocks forward, belly forward, chest forward, head lifts. And then pelvis rolls back, spine rounds, head drops. And then we'll come back up to more of a neutral position. Feel free to shake out a little bit. I always like shaking out a little bit. And then we'll go into a bit of a lunge stance. So we'll make sure everybody can see what my legs are doing. So keeping the pelvis relatively square, we'll step one leg back, coming into a bit of a lunge. And so the back heel is lifted away from the floor. And what I like to feel for in a lunge stance is not really a long stance, but a stance that feels supportive. So without saying the longer the stance is, the better it's going to be, that I'm looking for a quality of a stance. And for me, the quality is a stance of support. It feels like I can stay here for a while. And if balance is an issue, you could put your hand on a wall or a chair. You could also widen your stance. So think more of standing on train tracks rather than a tightrope. And then from here, we'll take the arms up. And then we'll bend the elbows, take the hands to the back of the head. Like this, yeah. Right. And then very gently at first, beginning to press the elbows behind you as far as you can go comfortably. And as the elbows press back, Also trying not to move into too much of a back bend. So you're gonna sort of resist the back bend. Okay? As the elbows go back, again, feeling how the musculature of the upper back and the shoulders turns on more. Depending on which leg is back, you might also add a very light contraction to that bum cheek, which might then drive a little bit more sensation to the front of the hip of the leg that is back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then what I like to do here is very slowly at first, start to descend the heel of the back leg towards the floor, just a little bit. And then to lift the heel up again. And then to take the heel towards the floor, and then to bring it back up. And just noticing how the sensations change as you do that. Good, one more time, lowering the heel closer to the floor, probably won't touch though. And then raising it back up. And then we can lower the arms down, bring the back foot forward, and maybe a little shake. Right, and then we'll go opposite. So the opposite leg steps back. Right, finding that stance that feels supportive. And then we'll take the arms up, hands to the back of the head. If the fingers are interlaced, you can try to interlace them in the opposite direction. Right, gently at first, taking the elbows back towards the wall behind you.
This is Sparta.
And maybe even noticing that the sensations feel different on this side, that this side is a different side, so it doesn't have to feel exactly the same. Again, the leg that is back, you might even add a little light contraction to that glute, to that bum cheek, to maybe take more sensation to the front of the hip. And then if it feels appropriate, starting to descend the heel towards the floor on the back leg, and then lifting it back up. And so adding a little bit of movement to the ankles, a little bit of movement to the toes, a little bit of light stretching on the back of the leg, the calf. Good, one more time, lowering down. Good, and then you'll come back up, lower the arms. And then we're gonna do that one more time on both sides with a slight variation. So you're gonna step the opposite leg back again. I'll go on this side. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the hand of the leg that is back, I'm gonna take it to the outside of my opposite leg. So if my right leg is back, I'm gonna take my right hand onto my left leg. Yeah, just like that, yeah, it's just like that. And then you're gonna start to reach the opposite arm back behind you. So you're moving into a twist.
Okay.
And as you do that, yeah, as you do that, twisting towards the leg that is forward.
Oh, that like that. Okay.
So if your left leg is forward, you're gonna twist left. If your right leg is forward, you're gonna twist right. Yes, twist in the opposite direction. There you go, yes, that's it, yeah.
Okay.
So just adding a little bit of upper spinal rotation. We're gonna take a couple breaths here. Good, and then releasing the rotation, come back to center, and then switch your stance. As the opposite leg goes back, if my right leg is forward, my left hand is gonna come to my right leg. And then you're gonna start to twist in the direction of the forward leg. So in my opinion, adding a bit of spinal rotation, thoracic rotation is really helpful if you've been sitting for a long period of time, just to get the upper spine moving again. Good, one more breath here. And then releasing the rotation, dropping the arms, coming back to vertical, and then again, maybe a little shake out. Yeah, well, and that's it. And we can all go back to sitting again for long periods of time.
Oh, she nicked my chair.
You
It was a
can't
nice
nick-
practice, Steve.
Thanks. Right. I think it's important to recognize that I know sometimes people will say things like sitting is the new smoking. And,
That's
and
right.
no offense if you say that, but I'm not really down with that phrase. I don't think sitting is the new smoking.
Mhm.
Right? I don't think that there's anything wrong with sitting because we all sit. Every culture sits at some point. I
Totally.
think the difficulty with us is that we sit for too long, right? And then our culture has this thing where we just have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like, oh,
Yeah.
sitting's bad, just don't sit anymore. Like,
Yeah.
and so finding ways to begin to counteract how much time we're spending in sitting, I think is really, really important. Right? That just like if everybody was spending all day long at a standing desk, at some point you're going to have to counteract some of the negative side effects of standing all day long.
Mhm.
That's why I
Yeah,
love the phrase. I love the phrase. There's a PT. I think he's a physiotherapist out of the United States. He's in California. His name is Craig Liebenson. Shout out to Craig Liebenson. He says everybody's looking for the perfect chair, and he says there's no such thing as the perfect chair. The perfect chair is the one that you get up from every 20 minutes and move your body. That's the perfect chair.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and he says, and I agree. It doesn't take very much. Like you can sit for 20 minutes, get up and move for a minute, and then
Yeah.
sit back down again. Right?
Absolutely.
Do some
Love it,
good
Steve.
movement, and then you prep yourself to sit again.
Love it. Yeah, this was a really nice practice. Thank you for this.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that as well because my back's been hurting. I've not been able to do the any training because I usually do. I don't know whether you lot have heard about it in Canada, but there's a guy in the UK who does like a PE class for everybody every morning at 9 a.m. weekdays
Oh, nice.
on live YouTube, and it's brilliant. So I've not been able to do that because my back's been hurting. So been able to have some sort of movement that's not high intensity when I'm not bunny hops. That was really good.
Right on.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Getting poked with a fake knife,
What do you mean fake?
homemade knife.
How dare you call it a knife?
Is it? What's it made
It's a
of?
sword.
It does look like a sword. Yeah.
Sword. Yeah.
That was Jack Sparrow.
She made it when she was
Jack Sparrow.
dressing up as a pirate. She was doing Jack
When
Sparrow.
I was 11.
Nice.
So-
We watched Pirates of the Caribbean yesterday.
Oh yeah. That was fun. Do you
I've
kids
got to see
get
this movie.
scared? Do you kids get scared with that?
My kids don't. Some kids do. My kids like scary stuff, and that's like it's cool for us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my
Right
son
on.
loves to get scared. So does my daughter.
Aw.
We do have a friend though. Her daughter can't listen to low droning strings without getting scared.
Oh.
What mini eggs?
Can I have mini eggs?
Go on then, have mini eggs.
Can I have
Oh
Well,
my
for
God.
this, April 16th, 2020, thank you, Steve. Thank you, Yaz. Thank you to every
Yeah,
single
to everyone.
one of you who have been joining us on this journey, liking these videos, hanging out with us in the super chat. Didn't hear from Rebecca today. Hopefully you're doing well wherever you are in the world, Rebecca. It's really nice to see you in the chat, Laura. And thanks, Yaz. Thanks, Steve, for being here live. I'm sure Xenia will be back to join us again tomorrow. So Xenia, I think you're just chilling at home today, taking a Zoom break.
Mhm.
Take care of yourself, our friend. We've been thinking about you. Yeah.
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks for having us, Tim.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? This is my pleasure. Thanks, everybody. Take care of yourselves today. See
Bye,
you
girl.
tomorrow.
Bye, Miriam.
Same time.
Okay, take care.
Bye, everybody.